Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades, we do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, we're going to be doing a review of the space chat that we had with Erin. This was quite eventful and productive, and we're also going to be looking at how we can go forward in a potential follow-up space chat as well. So before we make a start on that, other updates in today's video, we're going to be looking at news from FINRA, also an update on MULN Automotive. So before we get started, quick headline here from Bloomberg in terms of the markets. The Fed is all that matters. Stock analysts ignore earnings. So the Fed, with regard to monetary policy and decisions in terms of interest rates, that is the key thing that will drive the market. But let's have a look at earnings. So if we look at Q4 revenue growth, year-on-year change, and what we've seen recently, Tesla growth 37%, and in terms of the actual share price, we have been seeing a significant rebound and movement up closer to $200 for Tesla. Amazon was very productive and positive, especially a great movement in the share price. I think on the previous month it is up in excess of 25%. S&P 500 up 6%, Microsoft up 2%, Netflix plus 2%, Google 1%, and I think Meta was also down 4%. Apple was also down 5%, but in terms of the reaction for Apple, that was certainly better than expected. And going forward this week, in terms of expected earnings, again, it's a big week for earnings, but we can certainly see notable ones here include BP. We also have Disney, HUD, Uber, amongst many others. Let's now have a look at a review of the space chat that we had with Erin, and this is available on the Twitter timeline to play as a recording. But in terms of a reminder, we were on a very tight schedule. So if we have a look at here, quick reminder of the schedule there, that we were initially going to start at 4:30. We pulled this back to 4:15, and the good news is that Erin did arrive at 4:15 promptly as we opened the space. So in terms of the only changes on here was we added in Ironman for Grey. And apart from that, the other one that did overrun a little bit was Rosa. So the benefit of the Rosa overrunning was starting 15 minutes early, so that did provide a good context for a legal insight, which I think was important in this first introduction to the community for Erin. As well as that, we had obviously insights from Bird Lady, Tony Twits. RBT was not unfortunately not available. Then we had Marduk, we had Uncle Smokey, and then we had a very powerful story from Tony Terrace. As well as that, I think Andrew also popped in at the end. But let's now have a look at some reactions and opinions. So shout out here to Duncan Dow. He said here, great job Ali, I've never seen anybody herd cats as well as you did. So just in terms of putting everything in context, this was my first time in terms of hosting the Twitter space chat. So special thanks to Syntax and Curtis for helping me in this. I think both of them were outstanding, professional and extremely helpful. So I don't think I could have done it without both of them. So special thanks and appreciation. Much love to both of them. Shout out here to Luna. Great job, Ali. CC, thank you for coordinating the space. I believe it was very well, and I'm sure Erin got the message. But again, you also need to thank Camwell35. He's instrumental in getting Erin on board, and he's the person who initially reached out to her. So next shout out here is to Tony. So from my personal opinion, I think Tony had the most powerful, strong, concise, accurate and strong message from the speaker. So lots of appreciation and thanks for Tony for getting that message across. It was very powerful, and I think Erin did get a good understanding of our concerns and grievances with regard to display. So special thanks for Tony there for a very powerful message. So Rodney states here, I believe Erin got your message loud and clear. Excellent response. Thank you. So in terms of what else we can see here, Nerve D has stated here, someone please mention that the two market makers that seem to have started the trading of MMTLP. So this is, we didn't really want to go too much in terms of DD history and the market makers who created MMTLP. The reason for this is Erin has also already been introduced to this kind of information. She knows about ARI, she knows about how MMTLP was created, and she has also had a very, very important insight from John Burdett directly himself. So we have had two prior meetings. So this was an introduction to the community, to yourselves. So she was aware of the basic fundamentals of the play directly from John, from myself. Richard Hoffman has also had a chance, and Marty as well. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't go down that line. So next shout out here is to Winston. So he's produced some constructive feedback, which we're going to have a look at now. So thanks for the feedback with regard to myself. So I know it was a difficult thing to coordinate. Obviously we all agree in terms of the Bird Lady, she is a legend, and she will always be a legend. And again, thanks for her contribution as well. So call didn't go perfect, so I agree. I think there's no such thing as a perfect call, and I never expected it to go perfect. But with regard to all the things that we could have improved, obviously it was still, in my opinion, a successful space call. So he's also stated here, as someone who was in Andrew's space immediately after, personally heard any attacks on people. He heard I did voice my opinion. Believe we as a community could improve in the future space calls with VIPs. So in terms of VIPs, we're looking at Erin. So I believe there was a little bit of controversy. So we'll address that as well. And Winston's gone on to say here, we are stronger together, and what I want is the best for our community. He appreciates Andrew, and obviously Andrew has also said he's appreciated what happened in the space. So there have been some personal attacks. I don't agree with anything like that. So let's get on to the situation in terms of what's happened. So I think one of the things that Syntax was concerned about, and I 100% agree with her, and that is that Erin had agreed to stay for a fixed time. I think she should have left at 5:30, and unfortunately she wasn't able to because of an intervention near the end, which we all know what happened. So those were her concerns. Those are also my concerns. However, from my point of view, I didn't really want to exclude anybody from that, and I didn't want to interrupt and cut the person off, because from the person who came in, which was Andrew, from his point of view, he was passionate, he was strong, and he wanted to get a message across at the very, very last minute. So it was a difficult balancing act in terms of her needs to leave and Andrew's needs to get a powerful message across. So that's the good, that's the bad. In terms of the overall conclusion of that, I think what I'd now like to do is give a little bit more focus to the story that was shared. But finally, in terms of the ending of this, I think in the follow-up space call, we certainly don't want to overrun, and hopefully we can stick to the time, and there are many lessons to learn. What I'd now like to do is express my gratitude and heartfelt appreciation to Tony Terrence for sharing a very, very powerful story about himself. So if you haven't heard the story, go on ahead onto the Twitter timeline and read his story, or sorry, should we say hear his story. So Tony did share this near the end. I think it was very powerful. I think it was needed. I think it was essential. I also believe that Erin was moved by Tony's story. So he was talking about what happened to him. He put his life savings in here. He sold properties to invest in MMTLP. I think he also stated that he sold a boat, and he also lost a farm. So he was on a very good income before that. But as far as I'm concerned, in terms of what happened to Tony, basically in terms of this situation and the story, but as far as I'm concerned, no blame whatsoever to Tony. He was 100% correct in his DD. This was a play that many people invested in, and I think from my point of view, the only blame is on FINRA, on the hedge markets, the broker dealers, on the SEC. So if this had played out how it should have been, Tony would have been in Vegas with everybody, all of us celebrating right now. So Tony, it's not your fault, it is the fault of FINRA. So on the topic of FINRA, let's have a look at what they've just done. So I think after approximately a month, they've just tweeted yesterday, and I wonder why. So let's have a look at a response here in terms of their tweet. First of all, what they said is there's been significant growth in the number of financial products, primarily ETPs. They are linked to and to seek track the performance of alternative weighted index, often referred to as smart beta indexes. Here's what you need to know. So they provided a link. So they posted about smart beta. 99% of the comments are not about smart beta. They're not about these significant growth in number of products. 700 comments here. Shout out to the Metamaterial News. And the comments are virtually all about MMTLP. So FINRA need to get the message. So we also got John Berder himself chipping in. So we'll shout out to John Berder. Look at the army of MMTLP on these replies. March on. So certainly we will be marching on, John, and we are not giving up this fight. Many prominent people have chipped in. So shout out here to Camel35, who believes it's another BS. FINRA, let MMTLP trade again, you selfish pricks, and protect retailers instead of Citadel and your golf buddies. Powerful, strong message there from Camwell, 100% agree. Metamaterial News, FINRA comeback post after not posting for 30 days. They posted nearly every day, and after the MMTLP allegations, they stopped. So I believe FINRA are spooked. I believe FINRA are on the defensive. I think FINRA have gone quiet. FINRA are also not willing to speak or comment on this, because the reason why they're not going to comment is they will implicate themselves. So shout out here to Terry, and again, Terry's an OG in MMTLP. He said, please explain how the U3 halt protected retail investors FINRA. So no chance there, Terry, you will not get a reply. And the reason why you won't get a reply is they did not protect retail investors. They said it was an extraordinary event, and in my opinion, the extraordinary event was hedge funds potentially losing billions. Well, yes, that is extraordinary. So that's what they're saying. That is extraordinary. Let's have a response, FINRA. Was that the extraordinary event? Finally, just to finish off, a quick update on MULN Automotive. So shout out here to Josen. He stated here, we've got big news for MULN coming up this week. And in terms of the data he's looking at from Artex, he's saying, what happens if a stock is on the threshold list for 13 days? Broker dealers will fail to deliver positions for 13 consecutive settlement days must immediately close out their failure to deliver position by purchasing shares in the open market. So according to the data here, this certainly could be an interesting week for MULN. But let's have a look at how MULN has been making a tremendous comeback here in terms of the previous week. So if you have a look at the chart here, up in excess of 25% on the week, up over 7% close of play on the Friday, currently trading around about 40 cents. It was just earlier trading close to the 20 cents. So great recovery there by MULN Automotive. And finally, quick shout out to our weekly watch list. So it was a very strong call for AI stocks. So this week we called out FRGT, that was up 5%. Also an opportunity to get 50% return from Tuesday. We called out IVDA, that was up 45% on the week. FOXO, that was up 68% on the week. GNS, that was up 20% on the week. Obviously not all calls were successful, but certainly GNS, there was also an opportunity to get a 61% return. So if you'd like to get the next weekly watch list, you can certainly join us for less than $9 a month. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.